everyone and welcome back to my channel. After about a month of playing Palia, there were various things I felt like Palia needed, so here are 10 things I believe Palia needs for long-term success. Palia needs a better item exchange system. Right now, we only have the request tab, which allows you to fulfill other items people request. You can request items yourself, but there's a limit of how many requests you can put in within a certain time frame. Especially for items that you can only request in once, trying to request a bunch of them ends up using all of your requests. Another similar thing is that since you can only request items in predetermined amounts, players must have the specific amount of items if they want to fulfill your request. Palia definitely needs a better way of exchanging items like with the trade system. Kind of like the one in RuneScape where you just display the items on one side and on the other side, and then each player must accept 2 times in order for the trade to go through. Or like the market board in Final Fantasy XIV where you can post items you want to sell and players can browse the board for the item they want and buy it. This would help with players being able to send friends items and also be able to buy resources that they are low on. Even if Palia does not want to introduce trading, a gifting option would be nice so that you are not limited to requests, as well as being able to choose the quantity that you want when you request an item. Another thing I would like is some quality of life changes to the crafting table. As it is now, we have to scroll through every item to get down to the item we want, and there aren't a lot of sorting options. Especially if you want to craft something like arrows, you have to keep opening up the crafting table and craft the item over and over again. A way to select the quantity you want to craft would help this one a lot. Another thing would be useful is having a filter that allows you to hide recipes that have already been crafted or showing only recipes that you can currently craft. It would also be nice if you could filter by specific furniture sets so that you don't have to keep looking for the exact one you want every time you're decorating your house. Overall, more sorting and filtering options would heavily decrease the time that you spend trying to look for items in the crafting workbenches. Another thing I'd really love, as well as a lot of people, are local chat and chat bubbles. Sometimes you want to talk to someone you're near but not the entire server, especially when the person next to you isn't looking at the chat so they don't realize you're talking to them since there are no chat bubbles. I feel like chat bubbles also just help with the social scene in general because you'd see all the people talking around you instead of having to look at the text box at the bottom of your screen all the time. I personally really love chat bubbles because it makes the game feel a lot more lively, and it also just reminds me of those games like RuneScape where you would see people talking a lot in the Grand Exchange, and it just felt like there was a lot of life within the game. Something else I would really love is a way to recycle or sell furniture. In order to level furniture making skill, we have to craft a lot of furniture, some that we don't even want or plan on using, and I wish there was a way to recycle or sell some of it so you at least get something out of those unused crafted furniture instead of it just sitting in your chest for eternity. Although I'm glad that decor doesn't take up inventory space, I just feel like there's a lot more potential for extra furniture items that you don't end up using. And I don't like neglecting things, so I like to have a use for it other than just it sitting in my chest all day. I'd also like a better system for each skill after you hit level 10. Currently we have the weekly accomplishments, which reward medallions that you can spend in the respective skill store to buy items. Some of the items are functional items while some are decorative. With the current system, there's only so many rewards you can redeem until the medallions just become obsolete. There should be a more extensive system after level 10 to keep the skills fresh and also long-term goals to work towards. I would assume as the game progresses though, Palia will probably add new milestones for new levels you reach, such as hunting new game or new crop seeds you're able to plant, but I do think there could be more than just new items, like something with more incorporation with multiplayer for each skill. Okay, so this is the one that I have seen a lot of people request and I also heavily agree with. A minimap. While the compass system works fine when you have NPCs or locations already pinged or marked on the map, it doesn't really cover every aspect of location finding. I feel like I generally have to keep opening up the map to check exactly where I'm going, and it'd be a lot easier if we just had a minimap to briefly check our location. On a similar note, coordinates are a huge factor in finding out where people are, and they would be extremely helpful in pinpointing nodes around the map. Especially when people call out a flow tree or pallium ore node, coordinates would make it so much easier to get there instead of trying to describe where it is located. Oftentimes you'll have people describing an area but then they don't have like the exact location, so you'll be running around the whole general area for a bit just looking for that specific node. So overall it just saves a lot of time and effort when trying to look for that specific location. Another thing I'd love is a better community system. In order to find a community you must be invited to one. There is no board or posting of communities nor a way to advertise a community without shouting it in the chat or outside of the game. On top of this, it seems you can't even see online community members unless you have added them to your friends list first, which is really strange. I would also like to see community housing in which all the members can contribute to the house and meet up there for community events as a whole. Another thing I'd love to see is an actual benefit to the Shepp system. While playing Palia, you have a series of quests in which you work your way up to find your Shepp, getting to a relationship level 4 with an NPC, and then doing a quest which you can then ask the NPC to be your Shepp. There is a huge build up and emphasis on finding your Shepp, and we have an amazing Shepp entrance ceremony afterwards. After this though, you and your Shepp don't really have anything new in particular, and the dialogue options don't vary much. There isn't really a mention again of what you really do once you have your Shepp, and the whole thing becomes almost non-existent. I would like to see further quests and events related to your Shepp, as well as some possible benefits based on who you choose as your Shepp. Of course, this just seems like something they just haven't added yet, and I feel like they most likely will, considering there is such a focus on it, but it is something I wanted to talk about because I did notice that there was basically a drop off of anything Shepp related after that acceptance ceremony. And the very last thing on this list that I would love is a rework of the amount of Pallium ore and flow trees. So sometimes you mine a huge vein of Pallium and you get 1 ore, and likewise sometimes you mine a large flow tree and get 3 logs. The numbers tend to be inconsistent, and especially since these resources are a bit more rare, it would be nice if we got a higher amount more often than when gathering the bigger nodes. Especially considering that even for like the iron or copper or whatever the lower nodes are, you can have varying amounts. Like for the lower ones you can get like 1 to 3, and the higher ones you can get like 8 to 9. So I don't see why they didn't translate it into the higher level nodes, but hopefully they do adjust that soon because it doesn't really make sense the way it is right now. So those are my major gripes as I've been playing Palia. I mean, there are a few more, but these are the ones I really wanted to talk about in comparison to some of the others. But there is some good news. In fact, it seems with Palia's new dev blog, they have addressed some of these things already. Over the course of the next several patches, they plan to decrease the cooldown of the items that you can request very sharply, as well as being able to request star quality items. They also have responded to the requests for workbenches and are aiming to increase the quality of life when using it, and hope to have the update rolled out in about 2 months. There are also a few things they do not currently have a date for, but plan on releasing as some of their priorities, such as proximity chat, more community activities and upgrades, updates to flow trees, as well as multiplayer activities. So it seems that Palia is taking the requests and feedbacks from players into account and actively working to make updates to include them, which I am very happy about. This makes me really happy because it shows that they are indeed listening to the players, which is really good for the health of a game. And that's all for today. I hope you all enjoyed watching, and please like and subscribe if you like this video and want to see more content from me, and thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and enjoy playing Palia.